To begin with, at the start, initially, to begin with, policymakers should focus on education reforms. The issue was caused by poor planning to begin with. To begin with, writers should outline their essays before adding details. As soon as, immediately after a particular event occurs, as soon as she finished her degree, she started working. The new policy will be implemented as soon as it gets approval. As soon as the economy stabilizes, investments will increase. As long as, provided that, on the condition that, you can succeed as long as you stay dedicated and work hard. The government will support small businesses as long as they follow regulations. As long as people prioritize education, society will progress. Simultaneously, at the same time, the government must address environmental and economic concerns simultaneously. He studied for his Ielts while working simultaneously. Two reforms were introduced simultaneously to maximize impact. Subsequently, after a particular event or action, the new policy was introduced, and subsequently, the economy improved. She completed her master's degree and subsequently secured a top job. The company expanded into international markets subsequently. Eventually, in the end, after a period of time, despite initial struggles, he eventually became a successful entrepreneur. The country faced economic challenges but eventually overcame them. Hard work and persistence eventually lead to success. Therefore, for that reason, as a result, the demand for renewable energy is rising. Therefore, governments must invest in sustainable solutions. He studied hard for months. Therefore, he passed the Ielts exam with a high score. Pollution levels have increased significantly. Therefore, stricter regulations are needed. Thus, in this way, as a consequence, the economy has grown steadily. Thus, unemployment rates have decreased. She practiced regularly. Thus, she improved her writing skills. The new policy was effective. Thus, public satisfaction increased. Hence, as a result, for this reason, he lacked experience. Hence, he was not selected for the position. The company expanded internationally. Hence, its profits increased. She didn't follow the instructions. Hence, her application was rejected. Consequently, as a result of a specific action or event, he neglected his studies. Consequently, he failed the exam. The government reduced taxes. Consequently, economic growth accelerated. The lack of healthcare facilities led to increased mortality rates. Consequently, urgent reforms are required. Accordingly, in a way that is appropriate to the situation, the company revised its strategies. Accordingly, its revenue improved. The research provided new insights. Accordingly, the policy was adjusted. The project was delayed due to unforeseen issues. Accordingly, deadlines were extended. As a result, because of something that happened, the country experienced heavy rainfall. As a result, widespread flooding occurred. He focused on improving his communication skills. As a result, he was hired as a manager. The new law was enforced strictly. As a result, crime rates declined. Up to the present time, until now, continuing from the past, the country's economy has grown steadily up to the present time. Scientists have studied climate change up to the present time. His company has operated successfully up to the present time. Historically, in relation to past events, historically, wars have shaped the political landscape. Historically, women had fewer educational opportunities. Historically, trade played a crucial role in economic development. Customarily, as a common practice or tradition, customarily, guests bring gifts when visiting someone's home. Customarily, Business meetings start with introductions. Customarily, people greet each other with a handshake. Over time, gradually, as time passes, cultural attitudes change over time. Language evolves over time due to external influences. Over time, technological advancements have improved healthcare. Before long, soon, in a short time, before long, electric cars will dominate the market. Before long, the government will implement new regulations. Before long, students will need to adapt to new learning methods. Formally, officially, in an established manner, the new law was formally approved by the government. Employees must formally request leave before taking time off. The treaty was formally signed by both parties. Traditionally, according to long-established customs, traditionally, families gathered during national holidays. Traditionally, men were expected to be the primary breadwinners. Traditionally, students wore uniforms in school. Recently, in the near past, the government recently introduced new education policies. Scientists recently discovered a new species of fish. The company recently expanded its operations to Asia. In earlier times, during an earlier historical period, in earlier times, people traveled by horse and carriage. In earlier times, handwritten books were the only form of literature. In earlier times, societies relied on agriculture for survival. Despite the fact that, although he studied hard, he did not achieve a high score. Although the policy was criticized, it proved effective. Although she was tired, she continued working. Even though, despite, stronger than although. Even though it was raining, they went for a walk. Even though he lacked experience, he got the job. Even though online learning is convenient, many prefer traditional education. Despite, in spite of, followed by a noun or gerund. Despite the challenges, the project was successful. Despite his lack of preparation, he passed the exam. Despite high costs, many people prefer organic products. Nevertheless, still, the government faced opposition. Nonetheless, the law was passed. She felt nervous. Nonetheless, she performed well. The market was unstable. Nonetheless, investors remained optimistic. In spite of, despite, similar to despite. In spite of the economic downturn, businesses continued to grow. In spite of his injury, he played in the final match. In spite of initial difficulties, they succeeded. But still, she worked hard, yet she did not get promoted. The company faced financial losses, yet it continued to expand. He was tired, yet he kept studying. However, nevertheless, introduces contrast. The plan was well structured. However, it lacked funding. She enjoys traveling. However, she dislikes long flights. The results were promising. However, more research is needed. Nevertheless, despite that, similar to nonetheless, the budget was limited. Nevertheless, they completed the project. He was warned about the risks. Nevertheless, he invested in the startup. The team lacked experience. Nevertheless, they performed well. Whereas, introduces contrast. While online learning is convenient, some prefer classroom education. While the economy is growing, unemployment remains an issue. While some people like coffee, others prefer tea. Whereas, in contrast, used to compare two things. Some people prefer urban life, whereas others enjoy rural settings. English uses the Latin alphabet, whereas Chinese uses characters. Traditional education is structured, whereas online learning offers flexibility. Regardless, despite circumstances, He continued his studies regardless of financial difficulties. Regardless of the weather, the event will take place. Regardless of criticism, she pursued her goals. Notwithstanding, in spite of, despite, notwithstanding his lack of experience, he was hired. Notwithstanding the risks, she invested in the business. Notwithstanding the objections, the policy was implemented. Because of, due to, as a result of, the event was canceled because of the heavy rain. Because of his dedication, he succeeded in his career. Many species are endangered because of deforestation. Owing to, due to, caused by, the project was delayed owing to insufficient funding. Owing to technological advancements, communication has become easier. The factory shut down owing to environmental concerns. Due to, because of, caused by. Flights were canceled due to severe weather conditions. Due to increased pollution, air quality is worsened. The company faced losses due to poor management. On account of, because of, for a particular reason. The meeting was postponed on account of a scheduling conflict. On account of his expertise, he was offered the job. Many tourists visit the city on account of its historical significance. As, because, since. As it was raining, we decided to stay indoors. As education is essential, governments invest heavily in schools. As the economy improved, job opportunities increased. Since, because, given that. Since technology is advancing rapidly, businesses must adapt. Since he was feeling unwell, he stayed at home. Since air pollution is increasing, strict measures are required. So that, in order to achieve something, she studies hard so that she can get a high Ielts score. They implemented new policies so that employees feel more secure. The government invests in healthcare so that people can access quality medical services. In order to, for the purpose of, he moved to the city in order to find better job opportunities. The government took action in order to improve public safety. Students practice daily in order to enhance their writing skills. Furthermore, in addition, besides, education improves job opportunities. Furthermore, it enhances critical thinking. The company expanded its operations. Furthermore, it launched new products. Renewable energy is sustainable. Furthermore, it reduces carbon emissions. In addition to, as well as, along with. In addition to English, she speaks French fluently. In addition to economic growth, environmental sustainability is essential. In addition to hard work, talent plays a role in success. Not only, but also. Not only, but also. Emphasizes two related points. Not only does education promote knowledge, but also it enhances critical thinking. Not only did she complete her degree, but also she earned top honors. Not only is technology advancing, but also it is shaping our daily lives. Either, or, one of two alternatives. You can either take the Ielts test or the TOEFL test for admission. Either the government must reduce taxes or it should increase wages. Students can choose either online learning or traditional classes. Neither, nor. Not one or the other. He speaks neither Spanish nor German. Neither the economy nor healthcare improved last year. Neither the students nor the teachers supported the proposal. Besides, additionally, apart from that, she is talented in writing. Besides, she is a great public speaker. The law promotes equality. Besides, it strengthens social stability. He enjoys swimming. Besides, he also loves cycling. Also, additionally, too, the new policy improves education. It also enhances job opportunities. She works hard and also volunteers at a charity. Solar energy is efficient. It also reduces carbon emissions. Next to, close to, adjacent to. The library is located next to the university. The school is next to a beautiful park. He sat next to his best friend during the seminar. As well as, in addition to, together with. Education as well as health care should be prioritized. He excels in mathematics as well as science. The company promotes sustainability as well as innovation. Apart from, besides, excluding. Apart from English, he speaks 3 other languages. Apart from economic benefits, tourism enhances cultural exchange. Apart from pollution, urbanization leads to overcrowding. Besides, additionally, apart from that, she is talented in writing. Besides, she is a great public speaker. The law promotes equality. Besides, it strengthens social stability. He enjoys swimming. Besides, he also loves cycling. In addition to, as well as, along with. In addition to English, she speaks French fluently. In addition to economic growth, environmental sustainability is essential. In addition to hard work, talent plays a role in success. Not only, but also. Not only, but also. Emphasizes 2 related points. Not only does education promote knowledge, but also it enhances critical thinking. Not only did she complete her degree, but also she earned top honors. Not only is technology advancing, but also it is shaping our daily lives. For example, used to introduce an instance or illustration. Many countries invest heavily in education. For example, Finland has a renowned education system. Renewable energy is beneficial. For example, solar power reduces carbon emissions. Various exercises improve mental health. For example, yoga helps reduce stress. For instance, used to specify an example among others. Some animals can adapt to extreme environments. For instance, camels thrive in deserts. Many universities emphasize research. For instance, MIT is known for innovation. Modern technology enhances daily life. For instance, smartphones improve communication. To illustrate, used to clarify or explain with an example. To illustrate, consider how artificial intelligence enhances efficiency in industries. Cultural traditions vary widely. To illustrate, Japan celebrates cherry blossom festivals annually. Air pollution has increased significantly. To illustrate, major cities now have high smog levels. Such as, used to introduce examples in a group. Healthy foods such as fruits and vegetables provide essential nutrients. Many languages such as Spanish and French are widely spoken globally. Countries such as Germany and Sweden have excellent healthcare systems. As an example, used to present a case or scenario. Governments should support education. As an example, Finland invests in free schooling. Technological advancements continue to grow. As an example, AI improves automation. Sustainable living is crucial. As an example, reducing plastic waste helps preserve the environment. As an illustration, used to give a concrete visual or explanation. As an illustration, consider how electric vehicles reduce carbon emissions. Language learning benefits cognition. As an illustration, bilingual people often have better problem-solving skills. Public transport is efficient in many cities. As an illustration, Tokyo's train system is punctual and reliable. Similarly, in the same way, likewise, education promotes personal growth. Similarly, it enhances career prospects. Renewable energy reduces pollution. Similarly, it lowers costs in the long run. Improving infrastructure boosts the economy. Similarly, it enhances living standards. Likewise, in the same manner, also, the government invested in healthcare. Likewise, it allocated funds for education. He focuses on self-improvement. Likewise, he encourages others to grow. Urban areas are developing rapidly. Likewise, rural regions are seeing progress. Moreover, in addition, furthermore, the policy enhances sustainability. Moreover, it encourages innovation. She is highly skilled. Moreover, she has extensive experience in management. Tourism boosts the economy. Moreover, it promotes cultural exchange. In like manner, in the same way, similar to, the company supports renewable energy. In like manner, it invests in carbon reduction. He showed respect for his colleagues. In like manner, they treated him kindly. The government improved transportation. In like manner, it focused on urban development. Correspondingly, in a comparable way, the new law improved public safety. Correspondingly, crime rates declined. The economy grew steadily. Correspondingly, employment rates increased. The company launched new services. Correspondingly, customer satisfaction improved. Similar to, almost the same as, resembling. Online learning is similar to classroom education in terms of structure. His leadership style is similar to that of successful entrepreneurs. The climate in this region is similar to that of tropical countries. By the same token, for the same reason, in the same way, hard work leads to success. By the same token, perseverance is essential. Education improves employment opportunities. By the same token, skill development is crucial. Sustainable practices reduce pollution. By the same token, they help protect biodiversity. In other words, expressing the same idea differently, climate change is accelerating. In other words, global temperatures are rising faster than predicted. The policy aims to reduce unemployment. In other words, it creates more job opportunities. The company needs to cut costs. In other words, it must reduce unnecessary expenses. In particular, specifically, focusing on a certain aspect, educational reforms must be prioritized, in particular, improving teacher training. Cities face pollution problems. In particular, air quality is worsening. Health awareness campaigns should target younger individuals, in particular, students. Notably, especially importantly, several countries invest in renewable energy. Notably, Sweden leads in sustainability. The new law has many benefits. Notably, it ensures equal opportunities for all. Many athletes have achieved great success. Notably, some have broken world records. To demonstrate, to show or illustrate a point, the rapid growth of e-commerce demonstrates the importance of digital marketing. Research demonstrates that regular exercise improves mental health. The case study demonstrates the impact of government policies on economic growth. To clarify, to make something easier to understand. To clarify, the new tax policy applies only to large corporations. Some people misunderstood the statement, so I would like to clarify the main points. To clarify, candidates must submit their applications before the deadline. To put it another way, explaining an idea differently. Technological advancements improve efficiency. To put it another way, automation helps reduce workload. The government must act quickly. To put it another way, delays will lead to economic instability. The new policy benefits businesses. To put it another way, it encourages entrepreneurship. Especially, to a great degree, particularly, online courses are beneficial, especially for students in remote areas. Pollution is a serious problem, especially in urban areas. The company values innovation, especially in technology development. To emphasize, to highlight the importance of something, the speaker emphasized the need for global cooperation on climate change. The study emphasizes the role of education in social development. The government emphasizes the importance of digital transformation in businesses. In contrast, showing a difference between two things. Cities are highly industrialized. In contrast, rural areas are more peaceful. Education is free in some countries. In contrast, others charge high tuition fees. Some people prefer online shopping. In contrast, others enjoy visiting physical stores. On the other hand, presenting an alternative perspective, public transport is convenient. On the other hand, private vehicles offer flexibility. Technology makes life easier. On the other hand, it reduces face-to-face interactions. Studying abroad is beneficial. On the other hand, it can be costly. Conversely, introducing an opposite idea. Some students excel in mathematics. Conversely, others struggle with numbers. Physical exercise boosts health. Conversely, a sedentary lifestyle can lead to health issues. Developing nations face poverty. Conversely, wealthy countries focus on economic expansion, rather preferring one option over another. He did not argue. Rather, he listened carefully to understand the issue. I do not dislike the movie. Rather, I expected a better storyline. The government should focus on education rather than unnecessary expenditures. Alternatively, providing another option. Students can take an online course. Alternatively, they can attend physical classes. People can use public transport. Alternatively, they can cycle to work. If the new policy fails, alternatively, a different approach can be considered. On the contrary, opposing a statement directly. Some believe technology isolates people. On the contrary, it connects them globally. Many think university is necessary. On the contrary, skills matter more in some industries. Some claim exercise is tiring. On the contrary, it boosts energy levels. Different from. Showing contrast between two things. Online learning is different from traditional classroom education. His teaching style is different from that of other professors. The climate in tropical regions is different from that in polar areas. Unlike, not similar, presenting a contrast. Unlike adults, children tend to learn languages more easily. Unlike rural areas, urban cities have advanced infrastructure. Unlike last year, this year's economy is growing steadily. Unless, except if, introducing a negative condition. Unless we take immediate action, global warming will accelerate. Unless students submit their assignments on time, they will lose marks. Unless stricter laws are enforced, crime rates will continue to rise. In case, as a precaution, if something happens, take an umbrella in case it rains. Government should have emergency funds in case of economic crises. She left early in case she got stuck in traffic. Weather. Expressing a choice between alternatives. The government must decide whether to invest in healthcare or infrastructure. He asked whether the new policy would benefit small businesses. It is unclear whether online education is more effective than traditional learning. Otherwise, if not, introducing consequences. Follow the guidelines. Otherwise, you may face difficulties. He should prepare thoroughly. Otherwise, he will not pass the exam. The company must innovate. Otherwise, it will lose competitiveness. Until, up to a certain point in time, the students must submit their papers until the deadline. The government will provide financial aid until the economy stabilizes. He worked hard until he achieved his goals. Provided that, on the condition that, only if, the scholarship is available provided that students meet the eligibility criteria. You can travel abroad provided that you have a valid visa. The government will implement new policies provided that public approval is received. Lest, to prevent something undesirable. He spoke carefully lest he offend anyone. The government imposed strict regulations lest businesses exploit workers. She studied hard lest she fail the exam. In general, broadly speaking, usually, in general, education plays a crucial role in societal development. In general, people prefer online shopping over traditional retail. In general, a balanced diet contributes to overall health. Overall, taking everything into account, the economy has shown progress. Overall, employment rates have improved. The research was successful. Overall, the findings were significant. Overall, the new policy has benefited both businesses and employees. In short, summarizing briefly. In short, reducing carbon emissions is essential for environmental sustainability. In short, technological advancements improve efficiency and productivity. In short, government intervention is necessary for economic stability. Finally, used to indicate the last point. Finally, the government must focus on healthcare reforms. Finally, education should be made accessible to all individuals. Finally, strict regulations must be implemented to reduce pollution. In conclusion, summarizing the key points. In conclusion, renewable energy is vital for a sustainable future. In conclusion, investment in education leads to long-term economic growth. In conclusion, tourism contributes significantly to national income. On the whole, generally speaking, overall, on the whole, technology has improved communication globally. On the whole, governments must prioritize climate change policies. On the whole, online education is effective but requires proper implementation. On balance, considering both sides. On balance, government spending on infrastructure has led to economic growth. On balance, urbanization brings both benefits and challenges. On balance, increasing wages can boost productivity but may raise costs. To sum up, summarizing key points concisely. To sum up, education, healthcare, and infrastructure are essential for a strong economy. To sum up, environmental conservation requires global cooperation. To sum up,